Up first for James Marsters, we have Mr. Joseph Dilworth Jr. from Pop Culture Zoo, popculturezoo.com. Joseph, fantastic guy. Please give him a warm welcome. Pop Culture Zoo, Joseph Dilworth.
Hello, everybody. How are you enjoying the convention so far? You can do a little bit better than that. How are you enjoying the convention so far? All right, that's better. So, do we have anybody in the audience that has heard of a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Angel the Series? Anybody here fans of Torchwood? Anybody here watch a little show called Smallville? Anybody here like me, Miss Caprica? It's getting smaller. Hawaii Five-0, anybody watch that? All right, who here is a fan of popculturezoo.com? My family, I paid them to be here. Anyway, all those shows I mentioned, the guy that's going to come out on stage here right now has been in all of those and played probably your favorite characters. He doesn't need any introduction. James Marsters.
Hi, you beautiful freaks. I was at the very first Star Trek convention in 1978 in Oakland, California. And I gotta tell you, we just get more interesting as the years go by. We're still the cool ones. You said have a seat. Okay.
We're gonna grill him.
Make it special, man.
Can you see in the back? So start off with, you've lived in Seattle before.
Yeah, I lived here for 6 years. In fact, I had a theater company about 4 blocks from here on 2nd and Main. Back then, that's where all the crack dealers were. No, I came to have respect for crack dealers. I found out that they're the intelligent ones. Like, the unintelligent ones, they just roll people at night.
Right.
You know, but the smart ones, they're businessmen. So I would go to them and say, look, I won't call the cops on you, but just vacate the streets between 7:30 and 8, and between 10 and 10:30. And then we have a peace deal. And they were like, okay, cool.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Did they bring any audience in for you?
No.
So that group was the New Mercury Theater, which you guys kind of took and expanded on from Orson Welles.
You know, actually, no. It wasn't, I didn't name the theater. The Mercury Theater, you're right, Wells had a Mercury Theater, but I named my theater after a theater in Brighton, England, that was, got formed right after World War II. And the question was, you know, England is bombed into rubble now, and how do we reawaken, how do we rebuild England, what are we great at? And the writer said, well, we have Shakespeare. So there was a real movement to reawaken verse in modern England. And so they had writers like Christopher Fry, who else? Dylan Thomas. And they would perform in bombed out churches, and people would be being rained on, and they would still show up, you know, at this bombed out church to see some theater, and I thought that was just awesome. So I actually named it after that company. Yeah.
So here's the one I want to know. Blonde, British, and a vampire. You're none of those three. So how did it happen that you became Spike?
Now?
So how do you end up playing that? I mean, was the character of Spike set as that when you went into the audition?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
You know, they wanted him to be I was told, the Sid Vicious of the vampire set. And I was like, no, you don't want Sid Vicious. Like, this is Sid Vicious.
Girls like me because I've got a great face and I've got a good figure.
That's Sid. Sid is useless. They were going to kick him out of the band. He couldn't even play bass. And I was like, Josh, you want Johnny Rotten, man? Please tell me. Yeah. So I gave him. I was a Johnny Lydon of the vampire side. What was the question?
How did you end up being something that you very much weren't?
Well, because inside I'm just like that.
Okay.
I'm as nasty as you want me.
I think about 5 people just fainted out.
Yeah, right on. But yeah, I'm willing to do weird stuff and get out of my comfort zone and do things that other people don't do, and so that's very much like Spike. And then you just let them do my hair, and I'm a stage actor, so you just put on a Cockney accent on it, and here we go.
Perfect. Was it true that on the musical episode they actually asked you to sing your song with a British accent? Because even the British people don't sing with a British accent. But yet you could tell you were doing Spike's voice when you were singing.
I guess that's the give. I guess that's how you can tell that I'm not really British, because I sound British when I sing.
Exactly.
I'm also careful with the script. Oh, that's a vowel substitution on that line. Yeah, well, that's a give then. Then that's a mistake. I should have sounded like American.
Like you were from Texas or something.
The Beatles hated that question.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. And like, why do you sound American when you sing? Because we grew up listening to American rock records. They couldn't say that.
I'm glad I could ask you something you didn't like. So you played Spike for 7 years between 2 shows. What is it like when you don't play that role anymore? I mean, were you ready to be done, or was it tough to let go?
Wow. That's a hard question, actually. The truth is that okay, in film, you might have to do a really weird thing. You might have to do something that scares you, or something that you're not even prepared to do. And if you read a script in film and you're not prepared to do that in front of a camera, you call your agent and you say, I pass. In television, you're contractually obligated to do anything that they tell you to do for 7 years, but the safety is that you're basically telling the same story over and over every week, so there's no real danger.
Right.
But on Buffy, you had no idea what they were going to ask you to do. And I came to a point where I realized that I was on call 5 days a week, 24 hours a day. I had to wear or not wear whatever they said and do whatever they said to whoever they said to do it. And at some point, that became terrifying. I mean, seriously. For me, filming Buffy was an exercise in terror. That's so funny. No, this is really true. So when Buffy came down, it was a relief as a person. But as an artist, I realized, man, as an artist, you want to be terrified. You don't want to be in your comfort zone. And so as an artist, it was very hard to give up. As a human being, it was a huge relief.
Is it, during that 7 years, is it hard to go do something else because you inhabit that character and everybody knows you as that character, or were you able to get gigs and things?
No, there's just no time. People who are on television series and rush out during the summer to make a movie usually pick any movie that's filming in the summer, and it turns out to be junk. So the best thing to do is just concentrate on that role, and when the role's done, find another role. Yeah.
Gotcha. So most of the roles that everyone in this room know you for, they've been characters where you've come into a show that is already established, and you kind of make your stamp on it. However, on
That's so lucky,
Hawaii
by the way.
5-0, though, on Hawaii 5-0, you've kind of been there from the beginning, and you sort of kickstarted the mythology of the show, even though you've only been in 2 episodes. Was that kind of fun to get to come in and be there at the beginning?
Oh, yeah. Shoot McGarrett's dad in the face. Take that, Alex. Yeah, it's wonderful to be there in the beginning and to be put into the center of how the machine operates. Yeah, Hawaii 5-0 is a hard show to shoot, though, because Alex is a certified stunt coordinator in Australia. So he knows his moves. And he is a rock. You hit him, and it's like hitting a wall. God, it's so bad. He's so tough. He's such a nice guy, but he just don't fight Alex, man. Twice I came back with broken bones, both times. And yeah, because the thing is, on Buffy, we were all like, my fight partner is well within distance, and we're just punching air, right? On Hawaii Five-0, it's all grappling and tight moves and flipping over and stuff. And I remember being in the hotel, beautiful hotel that they put you up in Hawaii, by the way. And I'm just cacked out on the lounge chair, and my girlfriend is putting ice all over my body, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Are we going to see him anymore this year in Hawaii Five-0?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, if that new Will Faddis sucks, then you'll see me a lot more. Does he suck, or is he good? But he's okay?
It's all right.
No, he has to really suck.
Well,
Nice guy, though. I hope he does well.
If he gets bad enough, they have to kill him off, and there you go.
So, because I kicked Alex in the balls the last time. And I was like, oh, I'm fired. I'm so fired. I kicked Alex in the balls. So. But it was tight, man. I was on the ground. We had 3 minutes to do the last episode. We were losing light. And so we had literally 3 minutes to film both the stunts doing it and the lead. So the stunts got 90 seconds, and Alex and I got 90 seconds. So it was really, really rushed. And in all of that, I tagged him.
You don't want to do that to the lead.
No. Yeah. Generally, you want to avoid that one. Yeah.
So the other thing I read about you doing recently is a show for Sci-Fi, 3 Inches. Is that true? Has that been done as a pilot and maybe a series, or where is that?
Yeah, that's where we are.
Okay.
It's a pilot and maybe a series. It's an extended maybe. They still don't know.
Okay, and that's been shot, but we don't know when it's going to air.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was really fun. I mean, I think it's a great idea. The idea being that you don't have to fly to be a superhero. That the lead can move any object, but you can only move it 3 inches away. But my character is an ex-CIA guy, and he's like, you know what? We could have used you in Afghanistan, man. You can get through any lock that we want to go through. So you don't need to have, you don't have to punch anybody. Just move something 3 inches. We can use that very well. I play an ex-CIA guy who's now a good guy.
CIA is not a good guy.
No, I play a guy who used to be very bad and is now kind of good, which is kind of Humphrey Bogart and stuff. I love that.
Well, and it's good to see you, do a good guy. I mean, you've done the gamut from Ted Bundy to Buzz Aldrin, which is pretty amazing. I mean, when you look for roles, what do you look for? I mean, playing that range.
I look for something that I'm not sure I can do. Look for something that I want to watch. When I read a script, if I think, wow, I can't wait to see this, then that's something that I want to do.
Cool.
Yeah, I remember going into the audition for Moonshot for Buzz Aldrin, and we were just talking. I never read the script, and finally I was kind of bored with the conversation. I was like, man, do you want to talk about subatomic particle physics or astronomy, astrology? I mean, we're in the golden age of subatomic particle physics. We're in the golden age of astronomy. Let's talk about this stuff. And the producers were like, well, we just did a documentary about subatomic particle physics, but okay. And I schooled them.
Excellent. Way to go.
Because I just read Bill Bryson's book, The Short History of Nearly Everything, and it gives a really pretty cogent idea about what that is, about subatomic particle physics. And yeah, I got the role without reading the script, because I was talking about, because Buzz is a genius, and he saved NASA like 3 times. He saved it because, like, when they did the first spacewalk, Ed White, all he had to do was get out of the capsule, float around like a marionette, and go, gee whizzers, this is great! And they pulled him back, and that was a stunning success. And everyone thought, okay, he didn't die, he didn't have a heart attack, and now we can think about this. But every spacewalk after that was a failure, because the guy would, your job is to tighten a bolt. Just see if you can do that. So the guy starts to tighten the bolt, and his whole body spins the opposite way, right? And so all of these spacewalks were just failing, until Buzz says, I'm a deep sea diver, and I get this idea where if you just weight my legs so that I don't I don't rise in the water and I don't sink in the water. I'm neutral. My buoyancy is neutral. That's as close to space as we can get. We should train underwater. And he's the guy that came up with that.
Oh, cool.
He's also the only astronaut to help out with the complex mathematics of docking the lunar vehicle with the one that's orbiting. Getting those ships back together was mathematically very difficult.
Right.
And he actually helped with that. I mean, like the rest of the astronauts were like test pilots. They were there to know their buttons and be very brave and all of that. But Buzz just went way out of that and helped them with the science.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, so you're going to be doing a show tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Everybody knew that, right? Everybody's going, right?
I'm at the Hard Rock, so the sound system's going to be very good. It's going to be a good time.
So what can everybody that's going to be there look forward to tomorrow night?
I don't do covers, or if I'm going to do a cover, I'm going to make one cover, but the rest of it is really me. And you may have seen me perform other people's words, but you have probably not seen me perform my words. And I think it's kind of interesting.
Am I going to get kicked out if I'm the one in the back with the lighter going, "Free bird"?
No, we won't kick you out, but we'll take your sign away.
Well, that's all I have for you. I assume there's some people here that might want to ask James a question.
Yeah, guys, I like a little bit of danger, so ask me anything that you want. Anything.
Right,
I will not necessarily answer anything, but it's fun to, to be a little bit dangerous.
I'm going to be the bad guy and remind everyone one question apiece, because a lot of people want to ask questions. So if you have more than one question, get back in line, and hopefully everybody can get their questions answered. Let's start right here.
Hi, James.
Hey, love.
There's a movie coming out soon called Cowboys vs. Aliens. And when I saw the plot for that one, it kind of reminded me something, and I was wondering if it reminded you of anything.
Very much. In fact, I wanted them to call the thing "Cowboys versus Aliens." That was one of the titles, because I thought that our title wasn't that great. Yeah, and they said it was taken, and I didn't know why, and now I know why.
Just so everyone else knows, it was High Plains Invaders, I think was the name of it.
It's a nice bit of cheese. Yes.
James is in it. It was kind of fun.
It is fun. It's fun. Good cheese is fun.
Cool. Let's go over here.
If you have read any of the comic books, is there anything in the comic books that your character Spike, like the Buffy or Spike or Angel comic books, is there anything you wish you could have acted?
I haven't read as many of the comic books as you might think. I had a bad experience. I wrote a comic book for Dark Horse called Spike and Drew. And I constructed it as the most twisted romance that I could think of. But in my mind, a romance has certain rules. Every genre has a different rule. And in romance, all the women have to want to kiss the male character, and all the males have to want to be the male character, and all the guys have to want to kiss the female character, and all the females have to want to be the female character. And that's how a romance works. But they drew it like Drusilla looked horrible, like, and they messed it up. It would have been a much more effective story if they would have done what I told them. I'm sorry. I used to have a thing, and they messed it up. And furthermore, I had to go to Juliet Landau, who was one of my favorite people in the world, and explain to her why I created something that makes her look so much less beautiful than she is. And as an acting partner, that was a hard conversation. And I basically turned my... I'm very pensive that way. So I haven't read the comic books.
Over here.
So you were Spike, and Alex has actually been a vampire in a different series.
Yeah.
Did any conversations come from that, or anything funny, or any stories from anything like that come from that?
Not so much. We talked a lot, mainly about our women. But no, not so much. A little bit about how all the extras want you to bite them. And how you really can't do that. But I hate to say it, no. I mean, Alex and I got along really well. We talked about a lot of things. We both played guitar. We played each other the songs that we wrote and stuff like that, but we didn't talk too much about vampires.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Back in the center.
Okay, I just have to say this is actually like a fulfillment of like a life dream for me. And I turned 22 like 2 days ago, so it's also my birthday present. It's
Happy
getting
birthday.
to see you here, thank you. My question was, I saw in the blooper reel for Torchwood that you bit John Barrowman when you had to kiss him. And that had me rolling on the floor, but my question was, there was a lot of aggressive kissing in Buffy as well. Did you ever end up biting somebody else by accident or being bitten?
No. Sarah and I didn't bite each other, but we would almost hit each other. Like when we did fights, like whenever a stuntman fights Sarah, they're always really respectful and they give like 3.5 feet for the punch, you know? But I wasn't really very fireable on the show, so I would go in very close to her face. Very close. Like, and she'd be like, I felt the wind on that one, James. I'm like, yeah, good take. And so what she would do, she was fairly trained as a fighter too, and she kept clipping my nose just to remind me, you want to go in tight, man, we can go in tight if you want. She never hurt me, but with this
Over here.
Hi, okay. So my question kind of relates to her question. You said earlier that in the Buffy series, they would always give you, like, you were scared, it was kind of terrified. Did you feel kind of the same way when you read the Torchwood script that you had to make out with John Barrowman?
No. When I read the script for Torchwood, I'm a subversive artist, which is to say that we are all taught things in this culture that are lies. Things like old people are boring, or you can buy cool, or that gay people can't be heroes, right? And so when I read that script, I was like, oh, this is my alley, man. This is exactly, like if I was producing theater, I would produce this script. This would be something that I cared about. So I was full on the whole time. And John is a great kisser.
Next question.
Hello. You've already mentioned your music, and I know you've done at least 2 CDs. Is that music something you want to pursue more?
It's something that I pursue in parallel with acting. In fact, tomorrow night I'm playing at the Hard Rock. Next weekend with my band Ghost of the Robot, we're playing the San Diego Independent Music Festival. My son just joined the band. Yeah, my band, they voted him into the band without talking to me about it. That's how good he is. They're just like, we need him. Get him in now. Yeah. But yeah, I was playing in bars when I was 14, doing James Taylor covers. And I had to choose in college which one I wanted to do, and I chose acting, and it worked out great. But I'm not going to drop the guitar. Yeah, I like it, keeps me sane.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if there was differences between the actor and the musician.
You know, I tend to like artists who write material better than ones who simply perform material. So, I don't know, if you're writing your own stuff and acting it, then that makes you very, very cool in my eyes. Or if you're performing your own music and you're writing it, you're very, very cool. But I tend to like writers. So, did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Next.
Okay, so my question is, how do you deal with all the fangirls?
Very well. I grew up, I was a geek in high school. I was a geek until Joss Whedon found me, man. Like I was a theater geek. I used to drive around this city on a bicycle in the rain because I was poor, because I was an actor. And then suddenly Joss cast me as a rapist, bad guy murderer, and suddenly the world opens to women. I'm a It did trip me out, because I thought, my life was a saint before I moved to LA. I was like one of those great artist people, and then I go to LA to sell my soul, and the world opens up. You know, to tell you the truth, though, all kidding aside, Buffy fans tend to be fairly intelligent and have a sense of humor. Yeah, otherwise they wouldn't watch the show. So I don't really have a problem with fans, male or female. Everybody's cool.
Over here.
Okay, so it's a room full of academics watching the Buffy Spike scene where everything is falling on around you and you guys are going at it. Probably what I would think is probably one of the riskiest sex scenes I have ever seen on television. And we were all enjoying it until we're watching it, and then we're thinking to myself, oh my God, how the hell did this get past anybody? And how was it allowed to be shown? And it is now my responsibility for this group of women who are all watching it, getting ready to get academic papers on Buffy, to ask you this question. How did he get past censors?
This is a great question. Because the show flipped networks from the WB to the UPN. And at that time, the UPN was inexperienced with fiction or producing it. And they had no standards and practices department at the UPN.
Thank God!
There was no cop on the block at all for one season. And then they found out how far we were willing to go, and they got their department together, trying to rein us back in. But yeah, there was a lot of things that they wanted to do on Buffy. Even like they wanted a demon with skin piercing, and they never got that past the WB for some reason. So the very first episode, skin piercing. Yeah, but for a while there was no parent in the room. Well,
That's awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. That's pretty great. You created the standards and practices for you. Awesome. Over here.
I just finished watching all 7 seasons of Buffy in maybe 4 months, and
you lucky.
and not only were you my favorite character, while I was watching it, all that was running through my mind through half of it was, what was going on behind the scenes? Like, what was your favorite memory or the most hilarious thing that happened off camera?
We don't have standards and practices here, so go for it.
Okay, I'll tell a story. Okay, in preface, this is nothing against Sarah Michelle Gellar, who was a complete pro the whole time. Seriously. On time, with lines down, totally okay, totally cool. But she was the lead, and everyone had to be so nice to her. And I'm a punk rocker, I'm a subversive artist, and I didn't like that. I wanted, just because no one could tell her to F off, I wanted to be the one to do it. Right? So there's a scene, I think it's, I don't know, I forget, 6th or 7th season, where my character is suspended about 17 or 25 feet off the air in a metal hoop, and I'm kind of dangling like that. And everyone's telling me this is going to be a really bad gag, it's going to throw your back, and this day is going to be just hell for you, la 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 la, right? I get on set, and the stunt crew is so kind, they gave me a waistband to support me. And I just told them, just cinch that as tight as you can. I don't care about breathing, just cinch it, right? So they cinched it really, really tight, they put me up, and I found that all I had to do was do kind of like a sit-up crunch, and it was cake. Like with this support here and the supports on my arms and legs, I could just be in that rig. I could be in there for 5 hours. It was no problem at all. But I didn't tell anybody because I wanted everyone to know that I was tough. So Sarah gets on the set. The very first shot is her close-up over my shoulder, 25 feet, and my shoulder's all fuzzy and out of focus and stuff. And we're on her face. And she comes on set and she looks up at me and goes, you know, I think I have to go to the bathroom. Because she's messing with me, we're friends, right? And I just go, well, Sarah, it's your show. You go to the bathroom. I mean, if you're uncomfortable for the close-up, well, none of us have any jobs. And she goes, oh, James, I'm just kidding, let's go. And I'm like, no, you go back to the big old trailer you have. Why don't you take a nap? In fact, you got that new thing, that TiVo thing, man, I'm sure they recorded something that you enjoyed. I'm sure you could sit down and have a nice lunch. Why don't you go? Because I swear to God, I got kids, and we're all hoping that you look fresh. So please, it's not called the Spike Show. It's the Buffy Show. We all know that. So, and we go back and forth, and finally I talk her into leaving the set. And immediately, all of her minions start coming in trying to talk me down, and I will not come down. And 20 minutes later, she comes back and just goes, "I'm ready." That was sweet.
Well done.
But again, this is not because I had a need to put her in her place. This is just that she was the lead, and so a politically powerful person, if you put them in my range, I just have to take them down.
Did you pick many fights on the schoolyard in school?
No, I got picked on, which is why I had this attitude, yeah.
Right here.
I'm a huge fan. I was wondering maybe what for you was like the role that got away, something maybe we not know that you almost had but didn't close, and something you thought you'd be perfect for?
Like 1,000 things, man.
But like, you had to pick one.
I can't. The thing is, like, what you're taught is, like, you get the script and you make it the center of your life, and then you go audition and give your little show, and then as you walk out of the audition, you throw that script in the trash, and you drive away and just forget about it because there's another audition coming and you don't want to get your heart broken. So there were many, but I don't remember one.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Next question.
So it's the 10th and final season of Smallville, and I was just wondering if they've come to you, talked to you, signed anything, get Brainiac back on the show for the last half of the season?
If they do, I'll come. But they haven't called yet, no. Well, write them. Tweet them. Yeah.
Over here.
Hello. Do you ever play Bioshock and save the little sisters just because they're voiced by Juliet Lando?
I played, is this Bioshock 2 or 1?
Both.
Really? The Little Sisters of Juliet? I played the first Bioshock, and I just felt too constrained. You're down there in the rat maze, and it's just room after room, small rooms like that. And I know that they're trying to do that to you and make you feel claustrophobic, but I got uncomfortable, so I like wide open spaces, like I like Red Dead Redemption, man. Yeah, so I'll go back to Bioshock 1. Maybe I'll just buy Bioshock 2 and find Juliet. Yeah, I'll save her 1,000,000 times. Yeah. If it's Juliet, I'll go through it, yeah.
Here we go.
Hi, I was reading online that you were really looking forward to your representation of Piccolo in Dragon Ball Evolution before it came out. Now, since it's been done, and you said you were a fan, what do you think of that role now after you saw the completed version?
I did my role brilliantly. I didn't get a stuntman. I was out in the desert and I was like, F this, Piccolo will live. I was in the makeup trailer saying, make me greener, make me older, make me ugly, go. And the makeup guy was like, we might get fired for that, James. I'm like, the producer is not here. If he cared, he'd be out in the desert in Durango, Mexico with us. He's in LA on a waterbed. Greener. Yeah.
So there was this episode of Angel, and there was this question that came up that really tore apart me and my friends when it came up in conversation. So I have to ask you, who would win in a fight, astronaut or a caveman?
Well, you know, the astronauts are very short, you know, because they have to fit into the capsule. So they're casting very little people to begin with, you know. I think it's the context, like where are they fighting? Like, if they're gonna fight in a technologically advanced situation, the astronauts are gonna kick it, right? If they're gonna fight with no technology, the cavemen are probably gonna win. So it depends on where they're fighting.
Open field, no technology.
Cavemen! Cavemen! By the way, they are starting to understand that Neanderthals are more intelligent than we. They thought that they were stupid, but now they're realizing that they actually had a higher intelligence level than we do now. So, cavemen.
Thank you.
Back over here.
So I had the misfortune of seeing Buffy after being forced to read the first Twilight book. And I realize that there are probably people in here who like Twilight, and I'm not going to bash on them, but I do have to ask, what are your opinions of the vampires in Twilight as compared to the vampires in
Do you have a 10-foot pole I can touch that with? Oh, man. You know, it got my niece to read. She's also my daughter. And she, you know, the Harry Potter got my son to read, and Twilight got my daughter to read. And now my daughter is reading a book a day. So I got no complaints against Twilight. As an audience member, I'm a purist. Like, I'm a guy that says, you know, in Shakespeare, if Shakespeare put it in this year, in this place, don't change it. Like, don't make Macbeth into a gangster opera. F that, man. It's specific to its place and time. He had 800 years of history to place his stuff in, and he placed it in the right place at the right time. So I'm a purist. So I think if you're a vampire, you got to rip people's throats out. You know, I'm a purist, so there's no such thing as a gentleman vampire. It doesn't exist. So I don't know how to really relate to it.
Unless, of course, they have a sword.
Well, yeah.
So you don't know if Spike would be Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Jacob is so hot, though.
Wouldn't Spike automatically hate the vampires are getting all the girls anyway? So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, he's got to lay down his turf, so he would go to war right away.
Back here.
Hi, thank you. You've been an actor and a musician for a very long time. Is there anything you learned specifically from your fellow actors or fellow musicians during that time?
Yeah, to embrace fear. That when you're in front of an audience, I forget who was this, I think it was Bob Scoggins in Chicago started talking to me about this. It's like that feeling when you're on stage and you want to run off or you want to hit somebody. Like he said, in nature, the only time that animals stare at each other is when they're going to think about attacking or eating them. So in a very deep level, when you're in front of an audience and everyone's looking at you and not glancing but staring at you, you have a huge fight-flight reflex. You either want to run away or punch back. And what art asks you is to get past that and then reveal yourself in a more vulnerable way than you even do to your family. And that is kind of why it's holy, or why it's sacred, or why it's such a gift. And I think about that all the time. How do I reveal myself very honestly when I really feel like punching somebody?
Over here.
Hello.
Hello.
So I've been watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer for about 18 years now. So I'm a true fan.
Right on.
And I was just wondering, what is the best episode that you can remember ever filming?
There were a lot.
I'm just asking for one.
You know, I think it's the musical. I think it's the musical. Yeah. The truth is that, you know, for me and Tony Head, it wasn't that much of a problem because we were already performing, we were already singing in public. But the rest of the cast were hired to be one-camera dramatic actors, and that's what they're good at. And suddenly, Joss decides he wants to write a musical. And he's asking us to be musical comedy actors and dance and sing. And it's kind of like asking a fire eater to juggle chainsaws. It's like, I'm great with the fire, dude, but I'm going to cut myself in half with the chainsaws. Yeah, so like one day I'm getting done with my lunch nap, which is like a 5-minute nap you get after you eat your horrible food. And Josh comes up on the trailer and he hands me a cassette. He says, well, this is your homework for the next episode. I'm like, okay, cool. Go over, put it in, and it's Josh and his wife, two wonderful people, very creative, singing and playing, Josh is playing the piano, both of them are singing all the parts to these songs. but Joss cannot play the piano. And he cannot sing. And his wife is a wonderful, beautiful woman. She doesn't sing great either. And I just kind of come out of my trailer like, what the hell is that? And I see everyone else coming out of their trailer too. What the hell? Whoa! We really thought he went insane. So, you megalomaniac. You're gonna lead us all to our doom. And so that was the low point. And then after a while, people figured out that we weren't going to get out of this, and we're going to film this. And everybody kind of screwed their courage to the sticking place and got outside trainers. Like Sarah got 2 vocal coaches and really did the work. And then there was this one moment about 3 days into filming, because the Xander dance scene was the first thing to film. He cut that. He did a really rough cut of it and showed it to us on the soundstage, and it was fabulous. And we went from just being in the depths of hell to going, oh my God, we're gonna be fabulous! I was never more proud of us. We really had to be brave that week, and I was very proud of us as a company.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
And just to let everyone know, we're gonna have time for about 2 more questions. Yeah, not my rules.
That's 50 minutes already?
Yeah, we've been going. So we'll go back over here.
Hi, James.
Hello, love.
You have been asked several times about filming romantic scenes and that it's not romantic at all because of everything that you have to do. But from a viewer's standpoint, which scene do you think is the most romantic or the sexiest?
Sorry, man, as a viewer, bumping boots with Buffy while the house come down. You're welcome. John was hot, but no, the house came down. We went through the floor, man. I was proud of that. I was such a good lover that I break the floor.
You didn't just break the bread, you took out the whole floor.
Thank God she was a slayer.
All right, last question.
When you started doing the audiobooks for the Dresden Files, had you seen any of the TV show that ended, the rest of the books, and would you be interested in doing another TV show or having been in that one, or is the audiobook sort of a separate thing from your acting?
I've never seen the television show. I enjoy doing the books. Again, it terrifies me to do the books, just staring into a void and having to come up with a whole universe myself. I would love to do a TV version of the character, but I just don't feel like I'm tall enough. I feel like I got everything. I feel like I got the attitude, I got the kind of film noir sensibility and everything, but he's described so often as being long and lanky that I think that it's very important that he is. I think it's Nick Cage's role, frankly. I mean, he would be great.
And unfortunately, that's it. We're out of time.
Guys, thank you.